and welcome to our press briefing. Some important updates to start with. As you are aware, the Prime Minister will be undertaking a visit to China to attend the opening ceremony of the Beijing Winter Olympics next week. During the visit, the Prime Minister will have meetings with the Chinese leadership. The visit will reinforce the all-weather strategic cooperative partnership between our two countries and further advance the objective of building a closer China-Pakistan community with a shared future in the new era. Foreign Secretary Suhail Mahmood visited Jeddah from 22nd to 25th of January, where Pakistan assumed the chair of OIC's senior official meeting in run-up to the 48th session of the OIC Council of Foreign Ministers to be held in Islamabad on 22nd and 23rd of March. The Foreign Secretary steered discussions in the senior officials meeting on the range of issues under consideration. The Foreign Secretary also underscored the special importance of the 48th session of the CFM, which is coinciding with the 75th anniversary of Pakistan's independence. Separately, the Foreign Secretary also called on the OIC Secretary General, His Excellency Ibrahim Taha, and exchanged views on Pakistan-OIC cooperation, the situation in IIOJK, Afghanistan, issues related to Islamophobia, and preparations for the 48th session to be held in Islamabad. Let me also state Pakistan's strong condemnation of further attacks by the Houthis targeted against Saudi Arabia and the UAE. We call for immediate cessation of such attacks. Our position on this issue is well known. Let us take a look at some of the recent high-level engagements. Foreign Minister Qureshi received the Minister of Trade of Sri Lanka, Dr. Gunawardena, and the State Minister for Regional Cooperation, Mr. Balasuriya, at the Foreign Ministry on 24th of January. The Sri Lankan delegation also paid a courtesy call on the Prime Minister on 25th of January. Accompanied by a group of Sri Lankan businessmen, the delegation had a number of interactions in Karachi, Islamabad, and Lahore with a view to strengthening trade and investment ties between the two countries. Over the last few days, the Foreign Minister has undertaken a series of phone calls to his counterparts across the world, and this is part of Pakistan's diplomatic outreach at the start of the new year. The Foreign Minister's calls included his conversations with the Foreign Ministers of Guinea, Benin, Jordan, Kazakhstan, Azerbaijan, and Côte d'Ivoire. You would have seen our press releases detailing these conversations. On 26th of January, Foreign Minister Qureshi launched the SDG Investment Report 2021, leveraging private investments for Pakistan's sustainable development at a high-profile event held at the Foreign Office. The report has been prepared under the lead of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in collaboration with UNDP and BOI. It showcases Pakistan's business portfolio and potential for attracting private sector investments aligned with the UN Agenda 2030 and the Sustainable Development Goals. In his keynote address, the Foreign Minister outlined his vision of economic diplomacy, which is geared towards advancement of Pakistan's economic security agenda. Noting the upward trajectory of Pakistan's macroeconomic indicators amidst the COVID-19 pandemic, he underscored the imperative of exploring innovative financing solutions and involvement of both public and private sectors to increase investments in Pakistan's development sector for the attainment of the SDGs. He particularly highlighted the need to focus on health, agriculture, renewable energy, and infrastructure to ensure that the development is sustainable. Yesterday, Pakistan and Singapore held bilateral political consultations in which both sides resolved to further strengthen cooperation in economic, political, defense and security, education, science and technology, environment, culture, tourism, and other areas. On the cultural and public diplomacy front, Pakistan and Iraq signed an MOU in the field of tourism in Baghdad. The agreement will promote two-way tourism and reinforce people-to-people linkages between the two countries. Yesterday, in continuation of celebrations to commemorate 70 years of establishment of diplomatic relations between Pakistan and Spain, and in line with the Vision Foreign Office of the Foreign Minister, a photo exhibition titled Colors of Spain and Pakistan was inaugurated at Lok Virsa. The exhibition will remain open to public till the 30th of this month. Let me turn now to the situation in the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir. Kashmiris in IIOJK and around the world marked 26 January as a Black Day, deploring the 7 decades of Indian illegal occupation and state-sponsored terrorism, unleashing a reign of unprecedented violence and oppression against the Kashmiris while denying them their right to self-determination. It is a matter of grave concern that India continues to commit widespread and gross human rights violations in IIOJK with impunity. These gruesome acts are well documented by the UN and international human rights organizations, and on various occasions, Pakistan has also presented to the UN and the international community evidence of war crimes and crimes against humanity being perpetrated by the Indian occupation forces in IIOJK. Pakistan also continues to draw attention to India's irresponsible state behavior and track record of willful non-compliance with international rule of law. For over 70 years, India has violated the UN Charter and fundamental principles, norms, and rules of international law. On Jammu and Kashmir, for example, by refusing to implement the UN Security Council resolutions, India remains in consistent breach of its obligations under Article 25 of the UN Charter that stipulates that members of the United Nations agree to accept and carry out the decisions of the Security Council. The world is increasingly aware of the grave situation in IIOJK. Let India be warned that its reign of terror and illegal actions cannot continue unchecked. The government and people of Pakistan reaffirm a strong resolve to continue to raise our voice and extend all possible support for our Kashmiri brothers and sisters in their just struggle. We strongly urge the members of the international community to hold India to account for its atrocities in IIOJK and to play their due role in enabling the Kashmiris to exercise their inalienable right to self-determination as pledged to them under the relevant UN Security Council resolutions. Peace and development in South Asia must no longer be held hostage to India's irresponsible and reckless approach. With this, I thank you, and I am ready to take your questions. Sir.